How's it going, everybody? MTG Mondays here with another edition of 99 Problems. This time it's my Chaos Red deck, Zozu the Punisher. I've done a lot of combo-oriented decks in the past, and I just feel like I should make a deck that is just fun. And this time I picked Zozu the Punisher. I picked him because he's the only real good red legend that I have. I thought about Norn the Wary, but he really doesn't do anything, and this guy's kind of cool. But anyways, I'll go through the deck here. We've got Dormant Volcano, Spinerock Knoll, sorry for the glare there, Contested Warzone, and 30 basic mountains. Okay, so like I said, the deck is a chaos deck. It thrives on doing things randomly and having fun doing it. There's a few instances of the deck there. I have Chaos Warp, Beacon of Destruction, and Soul Blast. Chaos Warp being the kind of random element in those. So these ones aren't really random. These are just more of cards that help me out a lot. A lot of it is card draw and whatnot. And these are sorceries, so I've got a Tormenting Voice, Wild Guess, Act on Impulse, Breaking Point just starts destroying creatures, which is nice, or deals a bunch of damage, and Reforge the Soul. Have everybody draw some cards. Next is a few enchantments that are just good to play. They're kind of global enchantments that help everybody. So we've got Mana Flare, Bludgeon Brawl, Sulfuric Vortex hurts everybody, doesn't really help everybody. Goblin Assault is just there to help me out a little. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Burning Earth, since we play such a high amount of basics, this really doesn't hurt us too much. Curse of Bloodletting, get some more double damage on people. The next thing we have is a few creatures. This deck doesn't play too many creatures. We've got stuff like Rummaging Goblin, draw and discard. We've got the randomness of Archwing Dragon coming back. We've got the draw and discard of Vault Breaker. We've got Torchling, being able to use his cool abilities. Inferno Titan. And these next ones are just kind of placeholders right now until I find something better to go in. But we've got Goblin Heel Cutter and Shockmaw Dragon. I put Shockmaw Dragon in because the group that I play in play a lot of tokens, and so I did that. Next is a few artifacts / artifact creatures that I have. We've got Chronomaton. I like him just because you can just sit back and put as many counters on him as you want. You don't have to attack with him, so it's just fun to do. Sundial the Infinite is in here because there is some pretty curve-worky, weird things that you can do with it. Shrine of Burning Rage. It's a red deck playing lots of red cards. It's going to have this. Ruby Medallion, make all your stuff cheaper. Mimic Vat is just a good card. Extraplanar Lens makes your lands produce more. Portcullis is good because I don't play very many creatures. Everybody else shouldn't either. So, Gauntlet of Power, give you more mana. Precursor Golem, the randomness of if this guy gets targeted, they all get targeted, so that's kind of neat. Good draw card, Lore Seeker's Stone, and Cage Sun in order to get a lot more mana for myself. This deck does have one kind of combo. I wouldn't even call it a combo, but it has one real win condition other than hitting with creatures or stuff like Soul Blast, and that is Chance Encounter. Whenever you win a coin flip, you put a luck counter on this. At the beginning of your upkeep, if this has 10 or more luck counters on it, you win the game. And then I also have Crux Thumb in here just to, keep flipping some coins. So the next thing I'm going to do is go over some of the randomness that I have in the deck. And the first thing I'm going to go over is some of the permanents that I have that are random. This includes stuff like enchantments and whatnot. We have Goblin Bomb. So at the beginning of your upkeep, you flip a coin and put a fuse counter on it or take one off. When it has 5 or more fuse counters, you sack this and deals 20 damage. Planar Chaos is a great card. When this card comes down, people panic, try to get rid of it. And yeah, with Crux Thumb out, it pretty much stays all the time, which is nice. Chaos Moon. This might be a weird card, but it works out pretty good for me. As long as I keep my stuff pretty even and nobody really kills anything, on my turn everything is going to have +1, and all my mountains produce an extra red, so that's pretty nice. But beware, because it can kill your guys on other players' turn. So if they're a X1, they can die on the other player's turn. Corpulsion Minotaur, he has a cumulative upkeep of flip a coin, so that's pretty cool. Chaotic Goo, again, flip a coin. Scoria Worm, another flip a coin card, which is nice. Capricious Efreet, just a random dude that you could destroy stuff. Risky Move is a new one I put in here, so I haven't really got to test it yet, but it looks awesome. Being able to just do the random stuff that it does is pretty cool. Charmbreaker Devils is pretty neat. You can get back any of the instants or sorceries that I went over. So yeah, that's pretty cool, and that's at random, so yeah. Then we got Gate to Aether. This one's fun because it just, every upkeep, weird stuff happens. Same thing with Omen Machine. It also stops all those blue decks that are trying to draw a bunch of cards all the time. The next thing we have are some of the instants and sorceries and enchantments and creatures that don't do stuff like on my upkeep. So we've got Mage's Contest. You basically get into a bidding war over a spell, and whoever, if you win the bid, you counter that spell. So it's kind of a red counter spell. It's pretty fun. Game of Chaos. Again, you can keep flipping coins and losing life, and you double the stakes each time, so that's pretty fun. Mind Blaze is awesome just because if you think you can name a card in their deck, then you can just deal 8 damage, which is cool. If you can't, oh well. Usually I'll name something like Soul Ring or something like that, and so it's 6 for 8 damage. So it's just a cool card. Whims of Fate, pretty cool. It makes people really distress on what to separate into each piles. Twisted Allegiance, switch each other's creatures and whatnot. Like I said, I don't play very many creatures, so that's pretty good. So Thieves' Auction is pretty cool. You can set aside all cards in play, and each player chooses a card starting with you, and you put that into play tapped under your control, and you keep doing it until everything's been chosen. So that's pretty fun. Scrambleverse is like the ultimate ridiculousness. Ashley's Prerogative, I consider this to be pretty random, just because I pick a number, and then depending on what everybody else plays, it either comes to play tapped or it has haste, so that's pretty cool. Impulsive Maneuvers, I really like this card a lot. Because I don't have very many creatures in here, if I'm able to somehow make those creatures better, that's cool, but with the randomness of the deck, it just, sometimes you prevent all that damage, and it's just fun. Goblin Festival, just another randomness card. Witch Hunt is pretty neat. Deal 4 damage. Make sure those Aloro players can't gain life. And again, you choose somebody at random. Confusion in the Ranks. So this one's kind of weird. If I play an enchantment, then I can take an enchantment and switch controls. Most enchantments that I play are all globally. They happen globally, so stuff like that is pretty neat because I can just take something that's good. I can do that same thing with artifacts that are global, so if I play Fist of the Sun, or Gauntlet, whatever it's called, Gauntlet of Power, I can take a good artifact and so on. Grip of Chaos is probably my all-time favorite card in this entire deck. This is the reason I wanted to make a deck like this, because it just promotes insanity. When this happens, when this card goes down, people usually start to pack up just because they don't want to deal with the randomness and the crazy amount of targets. But it makes me laugh just because it's so fun. Infectious Rage is the only enchant creature in here. So whenever the creature's put into a graveyard, you choose a creature at random, and it enchants that, and you return this into play. We got Magus of the Scroll, way to deal some cool damage. We've got Humble Defector, way to draw some cards and give them to a random opponent. Mog Assassin, another way to flip a coin and destroy stuff. Goblin Bang Chuckers, another flip a coin card. Druidic Satchel is pretty neat. I can either do some tokens, get some land in play, or gain some life. Crooked Scales, another way to flip a coin, really. And my second all-time favorite card of this in this deck is probably Knowledge Pool. Just the ridiculousness of having to cast a card into the Knowledge Pool and then being able to cast something that's in there, so we kind of already know it's going to come, and what's going to be happening when they cast the next card is pretty cool. So yeah, that is my Zozu the Punisher Chaos Red EDH deck. Make sure you guys tell me what you think about it in the comments down below. Make sure to leave suggestions for next time's 99 Problems, and I'll see you next time.